Welcome to Tuesday, the third day of February, 2026. If you or a loved one has suffered a tragic crash, get the firm with the most board-certified and trucking accident law attorneys, nationally renowned and located in Wyoming, Colorado, and Montana. Call Grant Lawson and the law firm for truck safety. Well, as you'll see here in a moment, the wheels of change are turning slowly, but they're turning. In the meantime, we're going to be going through very little weather here for a bit. We have this little system that is going to produce a little bit of weather for some of you today and into early tomorrow, mainly in the form of some rain and snow showers, some clouds, a little bit of a cool down. But what we're looking at is another small Arctic outbreak in the northern plains today. We're then going to see the western ridge build up and get strong. That's going to drive a pretty good shot of very cold air into New England and the northern Great Lakes and parts of the northeast United States this weekend. So basically the process of Arctic waves going into the northern, central, and eastern parts of the United States are going to continue through the weekend, although the intensity is going to be directed more to the northern part of the U.S. After that, yes, there are rumors of weather pattern shifts coming. We hinted at this yesterday and last week, and it's starting to rumble in the weatherverse, so to speak, about things looking a little bit different in the long term. We'll kind of examine why those rumors are out there and why there are hints of possibly a change. Remember, what I'm trying to do here is I'm just going to give you the data. I'm going to give you the data that I see. Take it for what it's worth, but we do see some changes coming. But for those of you who have waved the white flag on winter, I don't blame you for waving the white flag on winter, at least what's left of it. Could the rumors be true? We'll examine that. So yes, there's a great disturbance in the weather force rumbling across the northern hemisphere. We'll talk about that here in a minute. Beautiful shot of the moon glow in the Casper area yesterday. You can see lots of pretty stars there in the photo. Great shot by Carl with that big moon coming up over the Wind River Mountains. A lot of folks got out, got some great pictures of that moon. Looks like a photo of the day in the sun, that moon so bright across the region. And there's one from Owens Valley, California. Still good snow in the Sierra Nevada, but it's getting a little crusty. Need to freshen that snow up. And then the snowbirds are emerging with some good pictures of palm trees and a pretty sunrise there in Arizona. Then, yeah, there's a little bit of snow, not very much, on top of Casper Mountain. And another shot from the Ozarks of a beautiful sunrise there. You can still see a lot of snow on the ground in the deep south. A lot of snow and ice still. And ice still causing power outage problems in a lot of the nation's midsection. And, yep, clouds with tails. Another shot there from Arizona. Beautiful shot there of a lot of neat high-level clouds that came across parts of the Intermountain West, especially early yesterday with those mountain wave clouds. The satellite photo really shows well what the current state of the environment is. We've got this big low out in the eastern Pacific. Look at that. It goes all the way to Hawaii and all the way up to the Aleutians in terms of where that system is. That low is pumping up the ridge here. And then on the back side, the low is driving cold air out of Hudson Bay into the upper Midwest. We've got very cold air up here in North Dakota, Minnesota, and Iowa this morning, heading into the Great Lakes. And you can really see it well on the water vapor. You can see the red, the dry, warm air getting forced up into California. The storm stalling out, can't penetrate the high. It helps maintain it. And we continue to see what we've been seeing there. And this is essentially how things are going to go. One thing I did want to point out, a lot of times I'll show you the National Weather Service outlook for winter storm watches and warnings. We still, even this morning, again this morning, freezing temperatures. There will be 3 mornings in a row where temperatures in parts of Florida have gone below freezing. That doesn't happen very often. And still, advisories for cold in parts of the Ohio Valley there, the eastern areas of the Corn Belt. So you can see the high pressure ridge in the west. This is how things are going to be today. This little ripple, this little guy right here, as it heads southeast, is going to produce what we've been showing you over the last few days, a little bit of shower activity. And this will be developing later today, overnight, tonight, and into early Wednesday. We'll have a little bit of snow shower activity in the Beartooth and up into the northern parts of Yellowstone Park and the Bighorns. A few snow and rain showers will spatter about across the plains here. Again, nothing to write home about, but there'll be a little bit of snow in the high country in northern Colorado and southern Wyoming, the Bighorns, and as we mentioned, Yellowstone. But across the rest of the western United States, very little going on. So as we go into the end of the week here on Friday, I'm going to show you and want to have you kind of pay attention to what's going on right here. For those of you who've been watching the videos, know that this Hudson Bay vortex, the polar vortex into the central and eastern parts of the United States, has been somewhat of a semi-permanent feature. It wobbles around and rotates around a little bit differently, but it's just wanted to maintain itself in this area that I've outlined here, and hence the Arctic surges are going to follow along behind it while the high pressure has been over the western United States. Only when this wobbles and pushes westward, like we had about a week and a half ago, do we get the Arctic air that's able to come in. But a lot of times the continental divide, I can't tell you how much the Rocky Mountains play a big role in helping distribute where the Arctic air ends up. And a lot of times, if the pattern is right, it's going to stay off to our east. So this is where we're going to go to the end of the week. The high pressure is going to be reaching its peak as we get into Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We still have the stalled out low pressure system here, but pay attention in the following maps on what happens here and how that could relate to the tremor in the force, so to speak, across the northern hemisphere. So from Friday through Sunday, again, look up in the higher latitudes. What we're seeing here is this weekend, the last salvo for a while of deep Arctic air goes into New England, Pennsylvania, the northeastern parts of the United States. But as we get into Sunday, we're starting to see this lift. This coldest core right here retrogrades ever so slightly back more towards the north slope of Alaska. So for the east to warm up, this has to start to go out across the Atlantic. We have to see some ridging take place in the southeastern United States. This high pressure ridge will grab some Pacific air with us, and so by early next week, the eastern half of the country, you're going to hear about a thaw. You're going to hear about them starting to warm up because things are finally getting rearranged up here. Then by Wednesday of next week, so look what happens here again, starting Friday, Sunday, Monday. What do you see? Well, you see this, the coldest of the cold in the highest latitudes, starting to take up residence in a different location. Notice southwest flow coming into the eastern United States. So what that is doing is that is allowing the jet stream way out in the Pacific and over western areas of North America to be influenced differently. So the influence of the overall basic pattern is going to go through a fundamental change as long as this happens. And I think there's fairly good confidence among all model suites, at least out to 7 days. All of them are seeing the same thing. Then the devil's going to be in the details, what happens after that. So Friday, Sunday, and by Wednesday of next week, this is a whole different ballgame, whole different scenario. And you notice I talked about the westerlies having a chance to punch through. See the gradient tightening here? This is because very cold air is coming back into Alaska, coming back into the Gulf of Alaska, and there's a big temperature difference between the waters here and the waters here and the air masses here. So the westerlies begin to strengthen and increase. That allows systems like this one to finally come into the Great Basin by beginning as early as next week. So again, I'm going to show you again the differences. We'll take out the highs and lows. This is Saturday, and this is by Thursday. So Saturday, Thursday. So we're just going to keep watching that. But when you have a big chunk of air like this, a very large-scale piece of cold air in the higher northern latitudes getting displaced, going to a different location, that's going to reflect itself in the jet stream and how it behaves. And if we go out in the Pacific, this is for tomorrow, for Wednesday. So here's the west coast. This is the 500 millibar pattern. You can see the 500 millibar pattern wants storms to come in, but helps build the ridge, can't penetrate the ridge. But as we go and take a look at what happens a few days later, This is by the 14th and 15th of February. There's again a major realignment. And what we see is the low further westward out in the Western Pacific. If there's a Western Pacific low, you're going to have the high in a better position here where the ridge-fridge situation develops in the west. So the rumors of the change are based on a fairly solid foundation. It's not a sandy foundation, it's fairly solid. So we'll see what happens. And the jet stream, if we look at how the jet stream changes, this is where we're going to be by Monday. So this is by Monday. We see jet stream winds penetrating the Pacific Northwest. We'll show you this, how that'll change things here in a moment. But look at this jet stream energy ready to come across the Pacific. And as it goes into the end parts of next week, we start to see a direct flow west to east in the northern and central California and the Pacific Northwest, and more jet streaks coming across the Pacific Ocean, having access now to the west. We don't see a big ridge in the west anymore in this configuration. So what we'll do is we're just going to go out very slowly. We're not going to go out too far, either into the early parts of next week. And into early next week, this is through Tuesday of next week, the Pacific Northwest, parts of the Northern Rockies, we're talking, look at this. We're even talking that it may snow in Utah next week. Oh my goodness. I tell you this, if it snows in Utah next week, then definitely there's a tremor in the force. So there you go. This could be by as early as Monday and Tuesday of next week. So it's hurry up and wait and see. And boy, do we need it. Talk about a long-suffering snowpack in the west. So we'll kind of use this as a benchmark of where the snowpack is as of February 1st. And hopefully in about 3 or 4 weeks' time, we can see some of these colors change in a more positive direction. Have yourself a great Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow.